Is Caleb Williams already a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? Jeremy Fowler of ESPN seems to think so. So me and Bobby are going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, Javon Dexter says that the defensive line basically has everything that it needs. We're talking about that and Coby Bryant motivating this team by showing off a Super Bowl ring. All that and more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. We got Bobby, myself, Haize in the building. C-Dub is somewhere taking an old man nap or something. We don't know where that nigga is.
On the real, what? We can't reach him.
Bro, it's just, nobody sees C-Dub. We do not know where he is right now, man. So we'll see if we can end up finding him in regards to that one. But we're going to start right off with it, man. So Jeremy Fowler of ESPN had this exact quote, Bobby. He says, Caleb is looked at around the league as a top 10 quarterback and one of the very best closers in the NFL. The key they're working on in minicamp, OTAs, and training camp is getting him to work inside the pocket to take the layups when they're there, the checkdowns, the easy completions. But with Caleb Williams right now, he's the type of player that can make plays only Patrick Mahomes can make before him. He's got that ceiling right now. So big things for the Bears in year 3. That is a pretty big ass statement there, Bobby. Hey, do you feel like Caleb Williams is on that trajectory to be a top 10 quarterback? And do you agree with him that he's basically saying here, like, the gimmies are what's going to help up that completion percentage? We've talked about that a lot over the last year or so with Caleb Williams. How you feeling about this quote, Bobby?
Hey, man, it just pretty much what it is. I'm taking it for face value. Saying that Caleb Williams is definitely, if not top 10 to some people's list, he's right outside of it. I mean, we already know the consensus top 4 of Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Burrow. But after that, you can start debating about it just about anybody. And I know that people are going to say, well, what about Justin Herbert? Justin Herbert is a guy that has not won a playoff game yet. He's very, very talented, but our guy just won a playoff game before somebody that was in the league years prior to him even arriving to the NFL. So I take it as what it is. He shows that he has the clutch gene. He shows that he's a playmaker. Obviously, we're still going to be talking about, can he work on the layups and can he up the completion percentage? And I'm with that. I think it's fair. But I know that they set out the goal to have him at 70%. Me personally, I don't ever see that happening in his career. I think something that's fair for Caleb Williams is in between 62 and 65% because of his mobility and his escapability is going to allow him to take chances that he's never, hey, hopefully I'm wrong, but I never see him eclipsing 70% completion percentage as a passer. So I think that is fair that teams view him that way. This man ran 30 yards back, Haize, and threw a touchdown.
It's crazy.
We learned from Pee Wee football. That was always the worst thing you can do. He changed the narrative and said, I can do it. And he believes in himself, and I'm with it. He's putting everybody on notice, and there's a lot of expectations headed into year 3 for Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb has shown like his ability, like to make the eye popping plays, all that type of stuff. He makes that, and honestly, I'm not even saying that because he's the Bears quarterback. He makes it look flawless when you do that play you just talked about. Like watching that, that's like something you see out of Madden when you know you about to sack somebody and they get a pass off. You're like, how the hell did you do that, right? Like, and he's doing it in real life. But I do think like the difference between a good and an elite quarterback often isn't how many of the eye-popping plays you can make. It is how do you execute the gimmies? How many of those do you turn into weapons for your team? So him going to the checkdowns, going to, they talked about going more up-tempo more regularly this season because of how that helps Caleb and process those decisions and all of that. You talking about a Caleb Williams who gets the gimmies and wide receivers who don't drop as many. Those two combination things, Caleb can probably get 64% right there. And you're looking at what, about 4,500 yards passing if he does that? On
Yeah,
top of
man.
what he can do with his legs too, like Caleb Williams is extremely talented. But even as a Bears fan, I'm going to say this, and I love hearing that my quarterback is in top 10. I'll say this: I need to see him do it again this year. So much of last year was so many comebacks that if he takes that a step further this year and we are more functional, we are more consistent, we're not just coming back in the fourth quarter. Like, I love that we have that capability to go there, but if we just are a lot more consistent, then it's hard not to have that conversation. The two things people can knock on Caleb is the completion percentage, and then of course the comebacks, because we relied on that so heavily last year. If he eliminates those two things this year, it's not a question. You can't question it at all.
I think that's a very good point, and I respect that too, and I actually agree with you with saying that let's do it again because you just we seen one hit wonders. We experienced that in sports, in music, everything. But if you go out there and you consistently be good, and you go out there and have years of proof of work that you can do it on a consistent basis, that's going to matter much more than just look at 2025. If you go out there and do it in 2026 with this upcoming schedule, with the Super Bowl champions, Super Bowl losers on that schedule, within one of the toughest divisions in the league, and on top of some of those other opponents as well that's going to be on your schedule, like the Buffalo Bills, can you go out there and execute at a high level? Can you go out there and do things on a consistent level that lets everybody know that you have arrived? Because to be quite frank with you, the standard for quarterback in Chicago, it ain't that high. No. You can literally start supplanting yourself as the Chicago Bears' best quarterback ever, like soon. It's not a high bar. So I agree with you on that, bro. You could definitely start working on consistency to where you could start punching your ticket into the Hall of Fame as a Chicago Bears quarterback, because it's not a high standard.
Yeah, it's not a high standard. You've already done some, we're talking about in year 2, you didn't win a playoff game. We're talking about quarterbacks who've been in the league a lot longer who haven't done that. So Caleb was on the right trajectory, and that's the most important part. Is on the right trajectory. But like you said, we've seen quarterbacks look like they're on that trajectory before, and they don't take that next step. Caleb just got to continue to take that next step. But Ben Johnson's pushing him. We got tons of talent on this offense, all from top to bottom, bro. Xavier Thomas has made plays. Like, people were talking about Xavier Thomas, like, why did we draft this gadget player, to him being one of the most consistent player in OTAs and minicamp, which is crazy to say.
Yeah, bro. I think that with Xavier Thomas and Khalifa Raymond, I don't know why C-Dub call him Raymond, but nonetheless.
Bro, Dub just...
we talking shit about C-Dub because he ain't
It almost seems sometimes like C-Dub is like, what's the most awkward way I could try to pronounce this dude's name? That's what I'm going to
do. That's the hate for Draymond coming out when he say Raymond. But nonetheless, it's good to see some of these playmakers go out there, and there's an emphasis this offseason for catching the ball. And there's an emphasis when it comes to Caleb Williams operating within the pocket. I think it means a lot to the success of the Chicago Bears offensively. Obviously, we're going to get ready and talk about the defense, but there's a lot of things we got to discuss about that defense as well. So I'm happy for the young fellas. Go ahead and go out there and make a name for yourself.
For sure. Let's get into the defense. So Javon Dexter was asked about the defensive line, and this is a quote from Javon Dexter. You hear it. I feel like we have the guys in the room to do it. Everybody knows what we're capable of. We don't look at it as a bad thing. We're taking it on, and we're ready to get after it together. It's still early. We're still trying to learn each other, but we have some older guys that are able to lead. We still have Grady Jarrett, a good veteran that has been a leader since he got here. So we still have leadership. Now, I don't know how it's going to go over with Bears fans hearing him mention Grady Jarrett, but with that said, Javon Dexter seems confident in his defensive line, and he's not the only one, right? Like, we've heard that throughout this offseason. Even Dennis Allen, when talked about the defensive line, he said that he basically believes they have what they need, and it's on the coaching staff to get them there, right? To teach those fundamentals, things like that. Grady Jarrett didn't come in; he was dealing with the injury the most of last year. Javon Dexter had always has that hot stretch, but then he kind of falls off. Austin Booker got a slow start to the season because of injury. Do you think this defensive line has enough? The way that I've been looking at it, Bobby, if the defensive line could be ranked anywhere between 14 and 16, that is a huge uptick from where we were last year at 25. And that, with what we can do in the secondary, I think that could be the makings of having a really good defense this year. But how confident are you in this defensive line coming into it?
I think that you made a great point with saying being between 14 and 16. That's just in the middle of
Yeah.
the pack, and I think that's fair enough with the overhauling of the defensive backfield that happened to the Chicago Bears. My confidence level is going to be simple. It's going to be at a 5 until I see it. You got to go out there and show me. Do I believe Montez Sweat can go out there and give us another 10, 11 sacks? Absolutely. But you're telling me by your actions as the organization, if every defensive lineman in this year's draft, we're banking on Austin Booker. What's an acceptable sack rate for Austin Booker? Is it 7 to 10 sacks? We're going to wait to see. He ended the season pretty damn well. We're going to see if a quote unquote motivated Deo is going to be able to give us it. You went out there, you signed a bunch of 1-year deals for some more pass rushers and a couple more people like John Lynch, Street, and Gallimore.
Gallimore.
Can they help? Can you get something out of the new guy in Vandenberg? Can you get something to generate a pass rush? Because I think that the defensive backfield, as long as everybody's healthy, they're going to be fine. The defensive backfield is going to be fine. I believe that you add versatility with Thieneman and Coby Bryant. And I think that Jalen Johnson, who has been healthy and a part of the OTAs thus far, they're going to be good. Can you get consistent pass rush, at least to be middle of the pack for the defensive line? We're going to wait and see. But these guys, that's why I always say Haize' last point. Everybody could be pissed off. The Bears put their flag in, they planted their flag. Now, once the season rolls around, we're going to be able to criticize them or congratulate them. That's the only two options that they've given us to this point. So we'll see what happens once the season roll around. I'm going to remain even keel and just wait and see once the football games happen.
No, I agree with you there. Like I can see where we can have internal development, right? Like Austin Booker, even if he played a full 17 games, he was on pace for like 9.5 sacks, right? And that's with him. We know he was slowed down by injury, right? So like if you like, there's no reason to believe that, or not to believe that Austin Booker can't get 7 to 10 sacks. You need another 10.5 for Montez Sweat. And then I say combined between Javon Dexter and Grady Jarrett, you need probably another 12 to 14 between the two of those guys combined. If you get that from your starting defensive line, I don't know how y'all do the math. I'm still tired. I'm old too, like C-Dub. I need my old man nap. But I think if just between your starting defensive line, you get between 20, 25, 28 sacks, that's put you in a great place as a defensive line, right? Like, so you got those things. Then we know how we are going to do with the cornerbacks. I think improvement from the defensive line, both because of injuries last year and just internal development, and then a healthy secondary, that already is enough to make this Bears defense improve drastically than what it was. And I didn't even talk about having Coby Bryant and Dillon Thieneman now there instead of Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard, right? Like we already have seen Dennis Allen talk about how he's going to use those guys, and like Thieneman is going to be used as a linebacker sometimes. He's going to be used as a cornerback. Like Dennis Allen is really excited about Dillon. So I think this defense is going to take a nice step up. It's just how consistently can you do it? How healthy can you stay? You got to stay healthy. We got more depth, like you said, with Lynch and Gallimore and Katavius Street. We got more depth there. Hopefully Shamar Turner could bring something. The linebackers, you still got TJ Edwards. We added Keyshawn Elliott and Devin Bush. So there's a lot of reason to be excited about this defense. I just think for a lot of Bears fans, they're not going to believe it until they see it. And honestly, I can't blame them based off what we saw last year.
I agree with you. I think it's fair to say, hey, I'm just waiting to see. I'm just waiting to sit back. But I do think that the key thing coming out of this year's draft, at least defensively, is that DA now has his Alontae Taylor in Chicago now. If anybody remember Alontae Taylor, that's the guy that was utilized as a linebacker, as a cornerback, as a safety down in New Orleans for Dennis Allen. I believe Thieneman is that now guy that he's going to try to form into the player that he wants him to be. Obviously, you want Kyler Gordon out there. Get your shit together, my man. I don't want to see you coming out of no tunnels backflipping. Get your ass on the field and tackle somebody. I don't care about you want to go out there and throw your horns up, your spider webs, and do that. Cool. I bet not see not one flip. But nonetheless, I think that Dennis Allen has his now Alante Taylor in Chicago with Thieneman that he's going to mold into the player that he wants him to be. And it's going to be very, very exciting watching those corners and come and apply pressure to the opposing team. For real.
Yeah, it is. It is, and I mean, and that was so important. We knew how much the defensive backfield, how important that is in Dennis Allen's system, and he never had his projected starting defensive backfield healthy. He just never did. It was never completely healthy last year. So now we get to see what he does with that. On top of the added speed and functionality that we added to this defense, there is reason to be excited. But you just got to show it. Like, go out there and show it. I'm glad that these guys are confident. You know, Javon Dexter, especially, is somebody who, like, he always has these spurts, man, and like I talked about on my last episode, is like Javon Dexter is like everything that he does is a perfectly solid starting defensive tackle in this league. But you want more than just a perfectly fine starter. You want somebody that can excel, right? And this is the year for Javon Dexter to really show that he does, because that extension, either that extension or your exit, is right around the corner, my boy.
For
One
real.
of the two.
For real. Like, I think a lot of us, we expect Javon Dexter to now start emulating the greats like Chris Jones and Aaron Donald. Nah, he ain't that type of player, ladies and gentlemen. He gonna give you a consistent 6-7 sacks every year, and it's cool. But I know we want more. But he not Chris Jones or Aaron Donald or some of those great interior defensive linemen like a Jalen Carter or something like that. So it's cool. Javon Dexter, though, it's time to get paid, brother. What you gonna do? That's all I want to know. What you gonna do?
Listen, we saw Jaquan Brisker last year. We said the one thing he needed to do to get paid was to stay healthy. He played all 17 and still is out the door. So I mean, like, you never know. Like, you gotta take control of it and see what you can do.
You want to know what I think it was, Haize?
What?
It was a couple moments throughout the season to where if Jaquan Brisker could have made the play, he potentially would have got paid. We talking about in the Lions game with some of those crossing routes, the first matchup versus the Green Bay Packers, to where literally he was a fingertip away from stopping touchdowns. I think it was a number of those plays, and they was like, nah, we just can't do it.
I think it was a combination of that, and then the fact that you had a natural upgrade in the draft in this position. Like, if the safety class wasn't so good in last year's draft, Jaquan probably could have stayed, right? But the Bears are in a position to be able to draft somebody that brought all the strengths that you had without the injury concerns and the weaknesses.
Understood, man. It's just the way that the game goes, bro. It's just, hey, especially football, we know it's cutthroat. It's cutthroat. Nobody really gets guaranteed contracts, everything. Once the money's gone, you can be gone.
That's a fact. That's a big fact. Well, last topic of the day before we get out of here. So Coby Bryant got his Super Bowl ring. He posted it on social media. He's using this as motivation for his team. What do you think? Like, I know we talked about like scheme wise and skill set wise and all that, but Coby Bryant is bringing that championship pedigree to this team. What do you think that does to help this defense as well, on top of having Dennis Allen as the defensive play caller and coordinator?
Great question. I think that you want to start. I think you should take things that he says too hard. Like, you never been to the Super Bowl for most of these players. Mm-hmm. So you need to be looking and listening to what he's saying, to the day in and day out work that is required for you to reach that goal. And as a unit, you need to be on your game as much as possible. Obviously, you're not going to be perfect every play, but when there's plays to be made, you have to go make the play, and you can't shoot yourself in the foot. Tyreek Stevenson, I'm rooting for you, my man. I'm rooting for you. Let's wash out all of the bonehead stuff, and let's go make some plays. Let's go earn our role. Let's go be the decision maker to help this Chicago Bears team succeed. We have the quote-unquote toughest schedule in the NFL this upcoming season before any games are being played right now. And you know, most of those teams that are going to be coming in, you're now being hunted. It's a different thing now. Teams are going to come in and give you their best shot because they know Caleb Williams is clutch. They know Ben Johnson is an asshole and he punked Matt LaFleur in the Green Bay Packers. You already know that. So teams are going to give you their best shot. How do you live up to that? How do you execute? They talking about, Haize, all offseason we've been hearing about fundamentals. That's important in these close matchups that you're about to be in. So let's go and make sure that we're doing what we have to do. And I believe you should be listening to some guys that has some championship pedigree. Grady Jarrett was in the Super Bowl too, and they blew a big ass lead. You need to be talking about how you don't blow the game.
You can learn from both sides of it. You got both examples of it on your team. Learn from both sides, right? So
exactly.
I mean, the one thing, Bobby, and this is what is such a big, what feels so different about this team is that this team does seem like it has that internal motivation. Like, under Matt Eberflus, it felt like we needed all those different things to really kind of motivate this team. But it really does seem like this team, this version of the Chicago Bears, that they are very motivated. They're locked in. They're ready to go. They understand what's in front of them. And it seems like they understand that, like, despite their success last year, there's still a lot of doubt around this team. And that can really motivate a team.
Yeah, bro, it's definitely still a lot of doubt. Some people gonna believe that they're just 1-year wonders. And there's some people still talking about it. There's still people taking shots at our quarterback, and there's still people taking shots at the head coach and calling him a Dan Campbell merchant or whatever the hell the Lions fans want to throw out there. But nonetheless, they still got a lot to prove. And I think I speak for everybody here. We don't just want 1 year. We want sustained success. That means 5 to 10 years of constantly making the playoffs, constantly giving you having a chance to win the Super Bowl. We need a championship. The fucking Knicks get to celebrate with their chopped cheese, chopped cheese and bodegas today after 53 years. We've been waiting since 85, ladies and gentlemen. I wasn't even born yet. So let's bring.
I wasn't even born yet. Chicago. That's how I tell you how long. I wasn't even born the last time the Bears won the goddamn Super Bowl, bro. Like,
man.
So yeah, we need that, man. We need that. So I think this team is on the right path. We know that lots comes down on the defense and stuff like that, and it doesn't all come. It's not all just based off this year, but man, I love to see this team make a serious step this year based off what they did last year, and we just got to see, man. Anything left, Bob, before we get out of here? Anything on your mind about this team or anything, brother?
Man, I'm just ready for us to get to training camp, bro. There's about to be a little break in between the training camp. Once training camp gets here, we know that we're getting closer and closer. And shout out to C-Dub, because it's one more week closer to C-Ball. Shout out to Milton. C-Ball. But nonetheless, man, we appreciate y'all, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Make sure you guys follow us at Chi Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Hopefully we find C-Dub between now and then. Who knows where he is? Maybe they had him committed to a nursing home. We'll find out. Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.